it. Absolutely dread it. I do the same thing every year. Just I never learn.
And now you're gonna
Okay.
become a
One day you'll learn.
lawyer, Jodeen, and you're gonna leave it to last minute again.
Oh my gosh. I know. Maybe I'll just adopt the practice of no gifts and just be
I
like,
like it.
just gift you with my presence. And that's it.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
I need
I
to
don't have to
steal this
commit
That's
to
line.
that's the confident person's answer to not giving gifts.
it.
My presence is just a gift to all of you. There you go.
There you go. Yes. Well, I'm not there yet, but that's the goal.
It's
So I
actually
think,
quite nice out today. I just was checking the weather. It's only 4. So,
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's gonna drop a fair bit. I don't know what I read something like -18 somewhere.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
'tis the
Well, as
season.
long as the weather cooperates for people traveling on Christmas, then I won't have
Yes.
to take Mother Nature to court and sue her.
She always wins though, so.
She does.
Ready, I think we should get going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and begin. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's after hour discussion on how to have a stress-free holiday season with family. This discussion acknowledges that although the holidays are meant to be a time of joy, they can also be a source of stress, especially when it comes to managing family expectations, navigating responsibilities like and parenting dynamics, juggling financial pressures, to name a few things. Uh, all of that, those are things that we'll touch on today. So a few housekeeping things before we begin, just a disclaimer. Please note that the purpose of the series is to discuss general information on separation, divorce, and family law matters. Any information provided here should not be construed as legal advice. Also, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature to submit your comments and your questions. If you have any questions regarding your specific matter, please call our law office and a lawyer in your area to book a consultation and receive tailored advice. Please stay tuned because at the end, we'll be sharing how you can schedule a free initial trial consultation with one of our lawyers. So I'll start with the intros. Today, our panelists are Shanza Sohail and Jonathan Paynter and me. So I'll go ahead and do some bios for you guys so you can get to know our panelists. Shanza is a dedicated family lawyer with a strong focus on compassion and effective legal representation. Her background in business management enhances her strategic approach to legal matters. Shanza excels in negotiation, achieving favorable settlements through strategic dialogue and strong advocacy for her clients. She prioritizes clear communication, ensuring that clients are informed and empowered throughout the legal process. Thanks, Shanza, for joining us. And we also have Jonathan here. Jonathan is a registered social worker and psychotherapist who works in the family law system, completing parenting plan assessments, voice of the child reports, family mediations, and collaborative family law in private practice. He also provides psychotherapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, family therapy, and couples counseling for children and adults. Jonathan is one of the board of directors of the Ontario Association for Family Mediation, holding the executive position as treasurer of the board, and is on the board of collaborative practice in the Durham region. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us as well. Like, your expertise on this is gonna be top notch. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I'll introduce myself, I guess. So I am an articling student here at Russell Alexander. And I'm not yet a lawyer, but I'm working on it. So there's that. I went to Queen's Law. I've had some experience already working on some collaborative files and some litigation files, which has been super cool. And I really have a heart for advocacy. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. In today's conversation, we'll be exploring ways to help you make your holiday more manageable and enjoyable. So to start our conversation, I think a good place to start is let's dive into the interplay of stress and family dynamics. So Shanza, I'll open up the conversation with you. If you could take us through that.
Yeah, of course. So one of the main challenges when we're talking about the holiday season is parenting time and figuring out how to divide parenting time fairly. With holidays like Christmas, New Year's, or even Thanksgiving, emotions tend to run high, and both parents may feel very strongly about spending specific days with the children, and this in turn can create conflict if the parents have different expectations or desires regarding how the time should be split. For example, one parent might want Christmas Eve while the other wants Christmas Day. And balancing those competing needs can be tricky, and especially if there's no holiday schedule in place. There's also the emotional strain that comes with trying to make the holidays perfect, especially when parents are separated. So as they're trying to navigate what the parenting should look like, there can be a lot of pressure on the parents to create an ideal experience for the kids. And in their aim to achieve that, that can lead to disagreements, even about disagreements on financial contributions or what type of celebrations are best. So that's the emotions kind of coming in determining what the holiday schedule should look like. Another complication could arise when travel is involved. For parents who live in different locations, coordinating visits or traveling to see extended family can create logistical issues like who will pay for travel expenses, or if the children will be away from one parent for an extended period of time. And all of this can lead to additional conflict if parents are not able to communicate clearly or agree on terms, then that can lead to increased stress or confusion during this time. And speaking of communication, the holiday rush, and we were just talking about it in the water cooler too, can lead to a lot of things on each person's plate, which can lead to breakdown in communication if both parents are working and they're dealing with holiday preparations, they're dealing with family obligations. So that can lead to bad communication between co-parents. And situations where parents aren't on best terms or they don't have communication channels established, then misunderstandings can easily happen. And this can lead to one parent maybe feeling left out of decision making, or worse, not having key details about what the holiday schedule is going to look like. And I'm just going to say a last point that emotional dynamics here can not be underestimated. For separated parents, the holidays can stir emotions of loss, guilt, resentment, especially if the separation is recent. The holidays can serve as a reminder of what's being lost, leading to emotional outbursts. So all of that kind of comes into play, and these are some of the challenges that people will deal with as they kind of navigate what the parenting is going to look like during this time.
Yes, thank you so much, Shanza, for that overview. For sure, as Shanza mentioned, with stress, often comes the pressure of unmet expectations. So, Jonathan, can you please share with us some tips for setting more realistic expectations during the holidays and not doing what I do, like shopping last minute for gifts? just to ease the pressure.
What Amazon is for, Jodeen.
This is true.
You're going to be getting a lot of boxes on your front doorstep in the next little while, I'm sure. So, Shanza, you're absolutely right. Christmas can be a really hard time for separating parents. It can highlight the loss of the family that you once envisioned. You know, maybe you sort of envision growing old with these folks, with your partner and as a family, and it can really amplify feelings of loneliness and abandonment. I would recommend people focus a lot on self-care. You know, take time off work, focus on keeping things simple. It might be a good year, for example, to ask family members to host the Christmas instead of you hosting. Even if you've been a host in the past, we've hosted and it's a lot of work. Ask someone else to do that work this one year. You can pick it up again the next year if that's what you want to do. Also, if you're getting gifts from others, you might want to focus on some self-care gifts as well. Ask people for, you know, instead of giving you a gift card for Tim Hortons, maybe a gift card to a spa or a massage or, you know, something that will take the kids off your hands for a few hours, something like that. Try to keep your focus on the kids and ensuring that they have the best Christmas possible by either kind of establishing new family traditions or continuing old ones that they're used to. Might depend on what kind of stage you're at in your separation. We'll talk a bit about that later. A lot of parents who are experiencing their first holiday alone worry a lot about their kids, the effects of the separation on the kids, and they want to experience the perfect Christmas for the kids to make up for all this stress that they're experiencing with the separation. Not a good idea. It's only going to cause yourself stress. You know, while it is good, these parents want to make things perfect for their kids. It's a completely unrealistic goal. It's unattainable, and it's going to cause a lot more stress than it prevents. So, pare down your ideas for Christmas if you're going through a separation. Go easy on yourself. Lean into the idea this is not going to be a perfect holiday. Give yourself permission to have an imperfect holiday. It's all good. And it's going to save you and the kids a ton of stress. So just do your best and leave it at that. Also, do your best to keep any conflict away from the kids. You know, we want to make this holiday season about them. We want them to have good memories about it. We don't want them to remember mom and dad yelling at them in a parking lot of the Walmart or fighting over who gets which present, those kinds of things. So it might mean that, you know, you have to withdraw a bit from the other person. Don't respond to triggering messages, or wait till after Christmas to respond. It might not be something that's really urgent that you have to respond to. Try to be as polite as possible during exchanges. I always recommend that separated parents get a gift for the kids to give to the other parent. I don't think it's really good for kids when that doesn't happen, because they want to give a gift for their parent, and they might feel like it's sending a negative message about the other parent if you don't get that gift for them. So, and always ask yourself, when my kids are adults, what do I want them to remember from this time? Okay. The answers probably want to remember them having fun and love and feeling connected to their family. And maybe they'll remember, you know, a fun Christmas dinner with their family, or a certain present that they like, or, you know, following certain traditions, or getting excited about Santa Claus, or whatever it is you celebrate at this time of year. You don't want them to remember yelling and name calling and door slamming and, you know, parents giving each other the stink eye, or you know, you don't want them to remember stress, basically. So try to keep things you know, as positive as possible. And it may mean you have to suck up some negative comments or some negative behavior, but focus on the kids. That's where it's at.
100%, Jonathan. Such a good point. Because like if I think back to my Christmases as a kid, like I don't remember all the extravagant stuff. It's like just spending time with my parents and my family that was important. So for us, it was board games. We love board games. So just spending that time together playing Monopoly for hours was like really
Was Monopoly the most popular one? Was that your favorite?
well, we'd always end the evening with Monopoly, and that was always a bad idea because it would go on for hours.
It was
And
Monopoly
we,
for us too. It's the signature
yeah,
board game.
yeah, yes.
Was
It's
there was
like,
this is here's an important question. Was there a particular version of Monopoly that you played? Was it the NHL version or the
mm,
Canadian version or the whatever? I don't know. There's a million Disney version, whatever.
yeah, we had the classic Monopoly.
Okay, classic.
Yeah, classic. Kept it classy. You, Shanza?
Classic. I think all the versions
Classic.
came out like as we grew older, the new versions came
Yeah,
out, but classic was always the one.
yes, yeah. We have a whole an old beat up one somewhere. Um, so yeah.
We always had the Canadian version, and
Oh.
whenever I'm wandering around a Canadian city, and one of the we're on one of the cities. I was in Vancouver recently. We're on Granville Island, which is on the blue expensive properties, and I'm like, yeah, I own the street at
Oh,
one point in my life. I sold it, but
in Monopoly. Well, yes. So yes, as we were saying, the memories that you have that stick with you are, you know, the time that you spend with your parents. And if that time is negative, that's also something that you can that you will remember. So you want to make sure that it's positive. So,
Mhm.
Jonathan, for those navigating co-parenting or blended family dynamics, new family dynamics over the holidays, this can present a unique challenge. What kind of strategies could help them? You did mention some earlier that I think could weave into this answer as well. Just, you know, just maybe taking it easy, passing the kids off to other family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Giving yourself some space, but yeah, please expand for us.
Yeah, so it's blended families and co-parenting can be a challenge around the holidays. I mean, I currently have a blended family with my kids and my spouse's kids, and it can be really hard to accommodate everybody's schedule because we're not just accommodating my schedule or my spouse's schedule, but both of our active schedules and our extended family schedules and so on and so forth. My wife has two sisters, both of whom are separated themselves, so we also have to accommodate their kids' schedule. So it gets really, really complicated. So my suggestion is to be as flexible as possible. If you're really rigid and say no, Christmas has to be celebrated on this one day, you're probably going to engage in a lot of conflict and stress. And that's going to stress you and the kids out. So um, uh, please don't dig your heels in. Don't get too rigid. Kids will be happy no matter where you celebrate Christmas. I can speak to that based on my own experience. Sometimes we can celebrate the kids with the kids on Christmas, and sometimes we have to wait, and that's okay. But remember, conflict is the number one expense of any separation process you opt for, whether it's collaborative or family mediation or family court, it really doesn't matter. Conflict is expensive. So anything you can do to minimize conflict is going to be helpful. So one tip I have is to try to work out the Christmas schedule as far in advance as possible. I would aim for November 1st or even September 30th if you can. You want to give yourself lots of time to figure out the schedule because as you get closer and closer to Christmas, you're going to start feeling anxious. Your ex is going to start feeling anxious. Your extended families are going to start feeling anxious. When are we going to meet for Christmas? And when stress goes up, conflict goes up. So you want to try to avoid sort of last minute deals, the weekend before Christmas, and get that stuff sorted out really far in advance. People don't do well under pressure, so negotiate when things are more positive. If you have an existing parenting plan or follow it to the letter if there's a lot of conflict. Otherwise, feel free to negotiate a new schedule every year. Christmas is one of those weird holidays that moves a day a year every year. So this year, I think it's on a Wednesday. Next year, it's going to be on a Thursday, and blah, blah, blah. So that can make it challenging sometimes to work on the schedule. And then, there's so many different factors that have to be taken into account, like your work schedule. Some parents, like firefighters or nurses, might have to work on the holiday. So getting all that information sorted out earlier is better, in my opinion. And remember, you have to not just accommodate your own schedule, but the other parent's schedule, extended family members, blah blah blah. So yeah, once again, flexibility is the key. So with me and my act, we renegotiate the Christmas schedule every year because we just have so many people to consider, and we have stepkids and work schedules and extended family, all that kind of stuff. So it works out every year. We managed to work it out fine, and but again, flexibility is the key. I don't know if Jodeen or Shanza, if you have any other thoughts to add to that.
I would back that 100%. As you said, like you have to be flexible because you're working with so many people's schedules. And then as and no one's life stays in, stasis. It doesn't just stay in one place. You might have gotten a new job, which then affects your schedule. Or maybe the kids are older and they're into like one thing, but that they weren't into when they were younger. So you have to work that into the holiday schedule as well. Like, say they used to go skating and they don't want to go skating anymore. They want to go skiing. I don't know, something like that. So it's important to remain flexible in terms of how you envision the holiday season panning out, because it's never gonna be perfect, but you should aim for enjoyable and family time. And so like, you want to try minimizing conflict, and in order to do that, you can plan early. So when it comes to like family schedules, fairness, and clarity, Shanza, there's some ways that you can suggest that families could plan their holiday schedule to avoid unnecessary tension.
Yeah, and just like building up on what you and Jonathan were talking about, flexibility and then, communication. Even if something's coming up, you want to communicate that with the other partner. Because you can't just expect them to, be flexible if you're not communicating on your end. I just want to be proactive with that communication as well, just to avoid those conflicts the best you can. And again, like planning the holiday schedule, and to answer your question, Jodeen, something that's fair and something that minimizes conflict, like all these things come in. Right? And it's essential for maintaining a peaceful co-parenting arrangement. And that's something you want. If you have young children, you're going to have a very long co-parenting relationship with your partner, with your ex-partner. So you want to make sure that you're able to maintain a peaceful, workable relationship with them. And the key here, when finding in that schedule, is to strike a balance that prioritizes the children's best interest while being fair and considerate to both parents. And that's really the balance that you're kind of looking for as you try to work a holiday schedule that's going to work for all of them, for both parents, for the children, for stepchildren, for extended families. So you want to make sure you're kind of balancing everyone's needs and their schedules and the children's best interest to kind of come to a fair parenting schedule. First, in terms of like tips, first thing I would say is start the process early. The sooner you begin discussing and finalizing the schedule, the more time you have to address any potential concerns or conflicts or changes. This will help any last minute stress or last minute decisions. By planning well in advance, you can make sure that both parents kind of have a clear understanding of the arrangement, and no one's kind of left scrambling last minute as the holiday approaches, to figure out what's really going on, or what that plan is going to look like. Try to create a balanced schedule that gives both parents time with the children. That's another thing. The holidays are a special time, and ideally, both parents should have the opportunity to share those moments with the children. And again, like this could mean in terms of, drilling down the details of the plan, this could mean alternating key holidays each year, or maybe splitting different days as to which parent gets the Christmas Eve, which one gets Christmas Day. So the different proposals and different arrangements are going to work for different people, and depending on their work schedules and depending on the type of celebrations that they do. So just want to be mindful of your own personal your routine and your schedules, and you want to make sure that you're kind of entering into a plan that works for you, your ex-partner, and the children. If you're dealing with longer holiday breaks like winter vacations, splitting the time evenly, or in a way that makes both parents' work schedules and other commitments are taken into account, can help maintain that fairness as well. Be mindful of, kind of mentioned this, be mindful of any special traditions that each family has. So when planning the schedule, you want to try to accommodate those traditions. If one parent has maybe a long-standing tradition that they would like to maintain, as the other parent, you do want to consider ways to make it work for them. And that's where, as Jonathan was talking about, flexibility kind of comes in. And you do want to be able to compromise to an extent to allow both parties to have a Christmas that is somewhat accommodating of both parties' expectations with the holidays. Again, clear and expected communication is another essential part of planning a fair holiday schedule. Both parents should discuss their expectations openly, talk about what's important to you. I feel like sometimes that gets missed. I think people just kind of put their demands. If you do communicate why you want a certain day or why it's important to you, I think that can be really important sometimes and can really streamline these communications. And, sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's perfectly fine. Have a backup plan in place that can help alleviate some of the stress if plans need to change last minute. And in like everyday life, it could mean even things like just adjusting like pickup and drop off times, or dealing with unexpected travel issues. So anything can come up, and that's okay. You just need to have some plan in place to deal with these unexpected changes. For some families who are high conflict, perhaps mediation can be a useful tool if you are struggling with coming to an arrangement, working with a mediator that can help facilitate this process. Jonathan is great at that. Ultimately, the goal is to create a schedule that works for everyone involved, especially the children. This means being open to compromise, maintaining clear communication, just making sure everyone feels valued and respected. And that way you can kind of help minimize that conflict and create a holiday experience that's positive for parents and the children.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Shanza. I feel like one of the overarching themes here is like don't sweat the small stuff and just really focus on the things that matter, which of course are, in the case of families that have children, are the children and their experiences over the holiday season. So another thing that's important for the children to have a great holiday experience is that you yourself are recharged, taken care of. So it's important that you set boundaries for yourself and for your family if need be, to maintain some emotional well-being during the holidays. As we said, it's a very stressful time. So, we have gatherings, we're traveling, and, we have lots of expectations. All of this can be super overwhelming. So, sometimes it's best for us to take a step back, think about the right way to approach this so that you keep your cool, your calm, your sanity, just try to enjoy the season. Yes, it is important to have a holiday schedule, as Shanza said. It's important to have backup plans. And on top of that, it's important to maintain some flexibility for some unforeseen changes that may pop up. Ensure that both parents have like fair and have meaningful time with the children. Not just time, but meaningful time with the children, and just keep communicating with each other so that you can avoid potential conflicts and misunderstandings. Yeah. So in those conversations, I think, Shanza, this is a great thing that you mentioned. And this speaks to boundaries as well. You don't want to assume that the other party knows how you're gonna do things or is on the same page as you. You need to have open, honest, respectful, emphasis on the respectful communication and conversation with the other side and even with your extended family, because as you navigate this new dynamic in your family life, your immediate family, following a separation, you may not be able to do the things you once were able to do with extended family because the children's time are split between parents or step parents and their other siblings and things like that. So it's perfectly okay to say no to some invitations and back out of some commitments. The end of the day, your kids need you, and they need you healthy and well. So save your energy and protect your time and your peace. As the great philosopher Beyonce said, drink water and mind your business sometimes, just chill. Uh, so anyways, so I think boundaries is not about rejecting your family, but prioritizing your own emotional well-being. So another thing would be to just discuss what you agree to on the holiday schedule and with your co-parent or your former partner, so that you both feel comfortable with the arrangements. If you can, as much as you can, avoid just popping up events like surprise events on people. Like no one likes that, especially during the holidays. Oh my gosh, it's so stressful already. Like, how am I supposed to feed you? Like, where are you gonna sit? I have all these people here already. Like, please don't come. Anyways, so sorry, some of my feelings seeped into that. But definitely a family professional can help you with the situation, as Shanza mentioned, a mediator if you're not feeling like you're well equipped to make it through this holiday season without a schedule in place. You definitely need a schedule in place. And if you have one, perhaps it needs some reworking because, as we mentioned, life changes, people change, and sometimes it's the schedule that you have is no longer appropriate for the parties involved. So please consider that, and yeah, just ensure that you set time. You have to be intentional about setting time aside for yourself as well. Of course, you want to be there for your kids, but your kids need you to be well and be there for them. So another, I'm covering the next topic, so you're gonna hear me talking for a little bit more. So the next topic is communication strategies to avoid holiday conflict. Sorry, before I go into that, did anyone want to comment on the topic that I just spoke on before, so they don't get tired of my voice?
I think you're on the cusp of something big there, Jodeen. I think we need to create a philosophy of life according to Beyonce. And I think we could all live a better life if we followed Beyonce's philosophy.
No, I totally agree with that. She was onto something there for sure. I do often just say that or artists are poets, so why can't we just tap into those lyrics and make them models for our
100%.
lives? So
Yeah.
no, don't follow the artist though, just the lyrics that speak to you. Just
Don't follow
saying,
the artist
that's,
too closely. If you look
yeah,
too closely, you might not get
don't look too
the
close. Now
the
the
view you're looking
allure
for.
wears off. So
Mhm.
yes. Shanza, is there anything you wanted to add before I move forward?
I'll let you
Okay.
I'll let you take it from there.
Okay. So good communication is definitely key to a smoother holiday season, especially when you're parenting after a separation. This helps reduce stress and prevent conflict. This is much of what we've been saying before. And definitely just want to reiterate that if you have a holiday plan, please stick to it. If not, please look about putting one together sooner rather than later. This avoids confusion and misunderstanding. So it's important to be clear, specific, and consistent. Communicate what your needs are, what your expectations are, so that it's all out on the table. And then you can have real conversations with the other party to see where they are at. And then you can work to some kind of resolution about how to move forward in the season. If you have a high conflict situation and this is not something that you can do amongst yourselves, please definitely consider a mediator or family professional, as was mentioned earlier. Always try to plan ahead as much as you can. Of course, there's a duality here. We definitely can't expect that everything will go as planned, but it's important to have a plan so that you have an idea of a framework, if you will, of what you intend to do with your holiday season, and so that the other party has a framework that they can work off of as well. So it's just about keeping people informed, giving adequate notice, that kind of stuff. And when you're communicating with your former partner, I think one of the most important things is always to think before you speak and think of the impact it would have on the children. Um, One of the biggest priorities during the holiday season is ensuring that your child feels loved and supported by both parents. So it's important to be mindful of what you say around your children. Negative talk or putting them in the middle of a conflict can have a lasting impact. There's some research that shows that children exposed to high conflict situations suffer from long-term stress, affecting their emotional health, relationships, and overall development. And for younger children, this stress could hinder their growth, while for older kids, this could interfere with adjusting to new family dynamics and focusing on school, friends, self-care. So also please avoid just remember to avoid putting the adult stressors on children. They don't need that. They're here to be kids. They're here to have fun. They just wanna play and just eat cookies and build snowmen. So that's what's important in their world. And when you're working with your former partner, it's important to, based on the dynamic of that relationship, to choose the right method of communication. So if face-to-face contact is triggering, then don't do it. Maybe stick to texting or use a text app or email, or once again, consider a mediator. So these are all things that you should be aware of, that maybe you're used to doing things one way, as in you're used to just picking up the phone and calling people. But if this relationship is just different now, maybe especially with the stress of the season. It's a quick or a detailed text, depending on what the situation is that you need to keep your former partner abreast of. You maybe that's the best mode of communication for you in that moment. Is there anything anyone would like to add to that?
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
just
I
add a
think you
thing.
made,
Sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
no, I thought you made some really good points there, Jodeen. I always like the quote, plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Like make a plan for Christmas, and if things have to change, they have to change, right? Yeah, I think I support what you're saying there, and yeah, really focus on the kids and always ask yourself, uh, when the kids are 10 or 20 years older, what are they going to look back and think of this time of year? And that should be your guiding light to decide how you act and what you do.
And Shanza.
100%. I was just going to add a lawyer comment there and say you can consider making some of these communication strategies part of the written agreement. So if there are certain
Mhm.
expectations or certain channels that you plan on using, you might want to include that in your parenting agreement, just so the parties have something to look back to, and remind themselves exactly what these communication parameters are in place.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
I would
Okay.
always suggest, sort of backing up what both of you have said. You always want to bring communication down to the lowest level that's required to prevent conflict. Conflict is the enemy. It is very bad for kids to be exposed to parental conflict, especially when they're already going through so many changes in their life because of a separation. So if that means not communicating at all, that's what that means. If it means communicating through a third party, then do it. Whatever you need to do to limit their exposure to conflict, you got to do it. It's the most important thing. And like you said, Jodeen, it can cause lifelong problems in kids when they're exposed to a lot of conflict.
Thank you. Thank you both for those additions. Um, I think our next topic, Jonathan, is going to be flipped to you. And this is something you mentioned earlier, self-care. It's often overlooked, especially in the hustle and bustle. And you gave us some good tips earlier. I was wondering if you could expand on on this topic.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Jodeen. So as I already mentioned above, self-care is one of the most important things to consider over the holidays. Christmas is kind of advertised as the most wonderful time of year where everyone feels love and connection, and at least that's what Hallmark thinks we should feel. But the reality can be quite different for people, especially people going through separation. Remember, separation is one of the most stressful things people can go through. There was a couple of psychologists back in the 60s who wanted to come up with an assessment to determine if life stressful events impact health. And so they came up with this thing called the Holmes-Ray Life Stress Inventory. And it has a list of 100 things that might happen in your life on a scale of 1 to 100. 100 is the death of a spouse or the death of a child. 99 is separation. And just under that, around 89 is separation. So divorce and separation are extremely stressful events. And it can really be a lot worse over the holidays. A lot of people, myself included, are much busier at work leading up to the holidays because all that work has to get crammed in because you're going to take some time off work. On top of which, you're spending a lot more money than usual, buying presents for people, that kind of thing, decorations, donations, baking, all that kind of stuff. On top of which, you now have to spend all this time shopping for your loved ones, right, Jodeen? So it might be more stressful for parents who are, it might be even more stressful for parents who are worried about the effects of separation and divorce on their kids, and that might add more stress to their plate. They might, as mentioned before, they might want to be focused on giving their children the perfect Christmas so they can wash away all the stress from the separation. But it's a lot of work. And if you lived in a two-parent home before, you could at least share that work. If you're living in a single-parent home now, you got to do all that work yourself. So that can add even more to your plate. So it's key to spend some time to take care of yourself every day over the holidays, even if it just means 5 minutes at a time. So, a quick option might be, doing some mindfulness, meditation, some deep breathing, maybe take a bath, maybe do some yoga. Sort of more medium length things might be, getting a massage, going to a spa, spending time with friends, or asking a friend to spend time with your kids so you can have a break. If you don't have enough support in your life, reach out for help. There's lots of help out there for people who need it. Both, so if, for example, if people have an employee assistance program through work, they can get help very quickly, usually within a few days. There's helplines out there for people who are feeling really emotional or lonely or depressed, or there are, subsidized counseling services in every community. So don't be brave. Don't try to shoulder all that stress and work on your own. Get some help. And then it might be you might not need professional help. Maybe you need help from family or friends. So after my separation for my first Christmas alone, my sister and my brother-in-law came out to stay with me to support me, which was so appreciated by me at the time. Still something I look back on as like evidence that they love and care about me, and fills my heart with warmth every time I think about that. So if you need extra support, go visit a friend or family member. That can be a really good option. If you have lots of money in the bank and you don't know what to do with it, go on a trip. Take the kids and yourself away for a few days. It could just be a quick trip to, Ottawa or Montreal or Quebec City or whatever, or, a trip to a ski hill or a cottage, or it could be something bigger, going to Mexico for a week and enjoying the sunshine. Um, you know, um, yeah, so self-care is important no matter what time of year it is, but it's particularly important around the holidays. Please, everybody who's listening, give yourself a giant break. Everyone's going through a lot this time of year. It can be a stressful time of year, and you'll need to let some things go. Give yourself lots of leeway if your things aren't up to your normal standards, and give yourself permission to grieve. It might
Yes.
involve crying or getting upset or journaling or watching, breakup movies or listening to sad music, whatever. That sometimes people need that sad time as well, and don't deny yourself the permission to grieve the loss of the relationship. It's a very hard thing to cope with sometimes. So it's completely understandable if you need a little extra help or a little bit of extra time, or you're not feeling yourself, or not keeping up with what you used to be able to keep up.
100%. I don't there sometimes I don't know if people really appreciate how much a bath and some candles can just change your life. Like
Mm.
just taking a moment quiet for yourself and just light some candles and just hop in the bath. Very relaxing. Especially if you don't necessarily have time to do like um all the other wonderful options that you mentioned. If you have a bath in your home, definitely make use of it. It will yeah, be very relaxing. And you're right,
Especially when it's
Jonathan,
cold outside, right?
especially when it's cold outside.
Mhm.
Lovely. And you're so right, Jonathan, in that uh, people need to recognize that the loss of a relationship is is a grieving process and give themselves time to really bounce back after that loss. It's not it's not to be overlooked because it can really do some really emotional damage if you don't take
Yeah.
that time for yourself.
Yeah, I sometimes, with clients call it an emotional injury, just like a physical injury. If you break your leg, it's going to hurt like hell for a while, and you can't walk it. You're not going to feel yourself until it heals. And if you don't take the time to heal, it's not going to get better. And an emotional injury is no different. And going through a separation is an emotional injury that needs to be healed. And yeah, just give yourself a break and do the things you need to do to get healthy.
100%. So we've spoken about emotional injuries. Now let's talk about some financial injuries to our pockets over this Christmas season, holiday season, and some things that we could do to probably alleviate that. So I think one of the other major themes of this conversation is planning, and a part of that is setting a realistic budget. So start by figuring out a budget that works for you and your family. Don't be shy about what you include on it. Gifts, meals, travel, fun activities. Write it all down, what you want to do, and keep track of what you're spending, so that you can stay on top of things and ensure that you're not overspending. It's so easy to overspend over the holiday season. You go out, you see something nice and shiny, and you just tap your credit card. The most dangerous invention in the world was the tapping of the credit card, because it's just so much easier to spend. So maybe consider
You just click a button and all of a sudden
or
you
just click a
spend
button. There's that too.
yeah.
I don't even have to take my card with me anymore. So a friend of mine suggested to me that I have designated amount of cash that I need to do for certain things. And then just put them in different envelopes and label them. That way, and leave my credit card at home. However, it doesn't work if you have your credit card on your phone. But
Mm.
anyways, it's a start. So that's something that I've taken into account and tried to start doing for certain outings. Try not to use my credit card, but take out the exact amount of money that I need to use for that event. That way I can avoid overspending. Also, a good idea is to coordinate your gifts, especially, when you're separated. You don't, and you know what your kids like, you know what they're into. You don't want to end up getting the same thing. They don't need two of the same things. Gosh knows they don't need like two, I don't know what kids are into these days, like Nerf thingies or whatever.
You do
I
you
mean,
do need a lot of Nerf
maybe
guns,
maybe you need a
actually.
lot. Maybe you need a lot, but maybe you can manage how many that they have. And so, oh, gosh knows you don't need that many Legos. Like stepping on those things are dangerous. So so I know if you have a ton already, like probably you're trying to manage how much is in the house. So just coordinate your gifts, make sure that you're not getting doubles or triples, or and that way you can manage your spending and spend what you're comfortable with. And yeah, another thing is, as we mentioned earlier, to plan early. So not like me, do your shopping early because I'm so late. And then you can take advantage of discounts and all of those deals and Cyber Mondays and Black Fridays and all the cool stuff that all the clever people do that I don't do. You should do it. Um, Try not to go overboard with gift giving. Remember, the season is more than just giving gifts, it's about spending time. So also, this is something near and dear to me. Like you can bake something to give to um, kids or your friends, or that could also be a gift that you involve the children in. Gosh knows they're not going to do a good job baking, but they'll have fun trying. So, just switch it up a little bit and make something. And yeah, those are my suggestions when it comes to budgeting. Try to think outside of the box. Um, and yeah, plan everything out as much as you can. Communicate with the other side so you avoid duplicates, if that's something that bothers you. And yeah, you can plan outings and make handmade gifts, things like that. So, Jonathan, we're gonna just finish up with you and talk about uh, family experiences following separation, such as creating new holiday traditions that can be meaningful and healing. What advice do you have for families that are looking to establish new traditions following separation?
I love this topic. Um, and can I just add a couple things about easing budget? Facebook
100.
Marketplace is fantastic place to find cheap toys or electronics or whatever. We got an Oculus for my stepson on there that was about half what it would have cost to buy it new. Also, consignment stores are a great place to get toys for younger kids. They have oodles of Lego and doll houses and Barbies and whatever else you need. So those are some other tips. And yeah, so holiday traditions. In my family, for example, we've created some new fun traditions while we've kind of brought in some old traditions that have continued and kind of been introduced to each other's families. So, for example, my wife, before I met her, every year bought her kids a meaningful Christmas ornament to commemorate the kids' progress through childhood, and each one was sort of focused on whatever interests they had at that year. So when they were little, it would be things like Disney princesses or the movie Cars, and then later on it was Minecraft and Roblox, and now it is usually sports or famous musicians like Taylor Swift. So now we do that with my kids too. We've done that ever since we've been a couple, and my kids really, really enjoy that tradition. On my side, my family of origin is Norwegian, and so Norwegians celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, not Christmas morning. And so we always open one present Christmas Eve. And now my wife has that tradition with her kids as well, which is usually pajamas. And then we all get into our pajamas and sit around and watch Christmas movies and have hot chocolate, and popcorn, which is really fun. So if you want to start new traditions, great, absolutely good idea. I would suggest you involve the kids, ask them what traditions they want to start. Um, so for example, in our family, we have a bigger family Christmas dinner with aunts, uncles, cousins, all that kind of stuff. But then we have our own as well, with just the six of us, me and my two kids, and my wife and her two kids. And we started this tradition where each child gets to pick one thing they really want to eat for that meal. So last year, for example, we had pizza, sushi, coconut shrimp, and home baked bread. So that was our Christmas meal. Not very traditional, but super fun. Everybody got something they loved. And once you start your new traditions, start taking photos and make a photo album that shows what you did. So every year, for example, my wife takes a photo of the kid standing with their new Christmas ornament. And it's a challenge getting my oldest to smile during those photos, but if I tickle her and act like a fool off camera, then I can sometimes get her to smile. So yeah, create a full photo album and record the traditions and just have fun. That's Christmas should be about connection, should be about love, it should be about family, and so focus on those things and find ways of having fun and forming those connections together.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. What adorable traditions you have. Like that dinner sounds so cute, but also like sounds like a heartburn. So I'm glad that you keep it within the family because
Yeah,
inviting people to that would be crazy. But yeah,
yeah.
that's super
And the kids
cute.
all get involved in making whatever it is that they want to
Oh,
have, right? So the kid who picks sushi will help me make the sushi and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a lot of
that's
fun. So we're all
amazing.
hanging out in the kitchen, making a huge mess and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a cool tradition. Maybe when I get my own family, that would be something I could incorporate. That is so cute. It almost made me shed a tear. Um, so that is it for today. Thank you both so much for participating. Thank you all for tuning in to Family After Hours session, Family Law Now After Hours session. Following the session, there will be a brief survey which will appear, allowing you to share your comments, suggestions on future topics you'd like us to do. This is our last after hours for the year. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow. So thank you for being on this ride with us for this year. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year with new topics and good vibes and just more time spent with each other exploring these family law issues. Um, I'm not sure if there's booking, if the events are open now, but please visit our website at russellalexander.com/family law now to get any updates that you need. I will provide you with a code so that you can take advantage of our opportunity to get a complimentary consultation with one of our lawyers. The code is winter. Yay. So winter. Um, Please contact our intake team at intake@russellalexander.com and provide the code winter to schedule your appointment. So thank you all for joining us once again. And just we hope that you have a lovely holiday season and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Jodeen. Thank you, Jonathan. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.